Hello. Just let the guy speak. Right, Highgate. Again. I've come to Highgate Station because we're going to do Parkland Walk North. We did Parkland Walk South and basically ended not far from here. So we're going to do the second part of the walk. This is the walk along the disused railway line. Now the north part goes from Highgate up to Alexandra Palace, and we'll have a look at the palace a bit when we get up there. So it's autumn, but it's a beautiful sunny day. So let's get there. Nice light today. We start off by going to Highgate Woods. You can see my shadow there some of the time. I'm wearing my brand new coat for my Norwegian holiday because I need something which will stand super cold weather, so I'm hoping this one will do. It's warm as toast in English weather. We'll see. It's made in Sweden, so I figure that should they should know how to handle the weather, shouldn't they? There's a number 43 bus if you need to get here. But Highgate is on the northern line. Basically, we can just go straight in here. Highgate Wood. Through this sort of gate to keep animals out. Or in, as the case may be. I think it's out. Don't know really, but presumably keeps fat people out as well. And we're going to walk basically along that path along the top. We're at the top right hand corner in the picture. We're going to walk along the path to the top left hand corner. Camera's trying to figure out what's going on here, but focus seems slightly soft to me, but anyway, it'll manage, I think, somehow. It's better, right. Highgate Wood, I think, has some association with Dick Turpin, the infamous highwayman of, I suppose, 16th or 17th century. Stand and deliver and all that. I think he used to rob people up around this way. Nowadays we think of muggers as bad people. I suppose they thought that of him too at that time. But anyway. Lots of autumn leaves everywhere, nice colours. And as you can see, being London, of course, the place isn't deserted. There's an endless stream of people. This is a Sunday morning. I mean, Highgate Wood is a small wood. I mean, it's easy enough to walk around it in an hour or two if you want to. There are cafes and stuff in Highgate, opposite the tube station roughly. And jogger after jogger just to disturb the peace. I think it would be a good idea actually to have jogger free zones, because they do make it less peaceful, it has to be said. I mean, obviously if I was jogging I would like to jog in a nice place like this too, but maybe they can have one half of the wood and other people who actually want some peace and quiet can have another half. I don't know. Of course, this is the week that Donald Trump was elected President of the good old US of A. I've made a video about my reaction, but in short, I think it's... people are fed up with all the lies and rubbish from the media. It just became white noise. With a pun on the word white, possibly. And... people just ignored it, basically. They want change. They're certainly not going to get it with Hillary, so what's the option, really? Steady stream of autumn leaves trickling down. Panting guys running around. Some significantly fitter than others. Oh, got my thumb there. Actually, talking about fitness, I was reading that a study, I think, of about 2,500 people's genetics or cells or something. Oh, we've got some fungus growing here, look. It's autumn, of course, so it's the season for this stuff. Looks like little leaves, doesn't it? But it's growing. But apparently they found that for every 50 cigarettes the person smoked, they received one mutation to the DNA in their lung cells, each cell. An average, I guess that is, but still. So someone who smokes, say 20 a day for a year, will acquire 150 DNA mutations in every lung cell, on average. Plus they were getting mutations in other cells too, pharynx, larynx, bladder, liver, etc., throughout the body. And we must remember that for decades and decades the tobacco industry argued that the science wasn't clear. They'd come out with all sorts of studies to show that it's nothing to do with that, it's to do with this, and we don't know that it isn't caused by something else, or that they're not just prone to these mutations anyway. The people who smoke happen to do this and happen to be, etc., etc. I think we now know that the whole controversy was artificially contrived by the industry. Because any straightforward study shows. Oh look, there's a cafe down there and a playground. We're not going that way though. I'll come back and show you it later on, but for now we're going past. And now that people are starting to realise, which they should have done again 20 years or more ago, that sugars and glucose, fructose, syrup and all these things are actually harmful. The sugar industry is starting to sponsor scientific studies to confuse the issue. And there's been a study of 60 studies. And what they found was that the majority of the studies found a link between sugar and problems. Well, you can read about Highate Wood Lodge. It's a building here in which staff live sometimes. But of about 60 studies, we're halfway along the path here. Of the 60 studies, those which failed to show there was a link between sugar and harm were all sponsored by the sugar industry. Oh, there's the lodge itself. But I think this sort of fake science is despicable, really, and the scientists involved should be ashamed of themselves. I rather favour there being something like the General Medical Council for doctors in Britain, where if a doctor is guilty of malpractice, they will be struck off the register, which means they're not allowed to practice. And I think there should be a register of scientists. And the same should apply. If you conduct a study and it's later shown to be biased because of your sponsors, I think you should be struck off, because science is supposed to be objective. It's the whole point of it. People die from eating the wrong things and smoking the wrong things. And because scientists are worried about their jobs, the facts are obscured. So the thing is to make them worry about their jobs more if they don't do good science. They can always sue the council or whatever it is and get their job back if they can prove that they were struck off unjustly. That might take some proper science too. More fungus growing, look. And a stack of wood. These woods, although they look natural, all woods in Britain kind of look natural, but all the woods in Britain are managed. As you can see, these branches have been chopped down at different times as they die off. Look at that. And the woods in Britain have been managed for centuries. I mean, this is an ancient wood. I mean, it's probably part of the ancient woodland that covered most of Britain in the Stone Age. But it's thoroughly managed. It was managed in the Middle Ages for firewood and animals for hunting and so on. And wood for thatched roofs and so on. Now it's managed just to sort of be a recreation ground, I suppose. And a reserve for animals and insects. I don't know what sort of animals you get here. Squirrels, foxes, birds, insects. And the occasional fungi jogging. Looks like Philadelphia cheese, doesn't it? I suspect it's not. As you might expect, if it's been wet, this walk can be a bit muddy in parts. A holly bush there, I think. Male one because there are no berries on it. The old rotten wood has been stacked up. I don't know if they're going to do anything with it or just leave it here to rot. And perhaps to act as a subtle barrier to stop people jogging over that part. So this should be the exit from Highgate Wood. And being Britain, everything's signposted, so there it is. If the camera will focus, there we go, Parkland Walk North, just up there. Another sign. Nice blue sky. Sun low in the sky, sort of a nice light. And here is the actual Parkland Walk North, which is made from the old railway line which used to run from Finsbury Park to Alexandra Palace. Caveman. This walk is not very long. I mean, you can do it quite quite quickly. It's I'm strolling at no great speed. The whole Parkland Walk is quite long, but this part of it is not really. Don't know the actual distance, but you can walk it in a few minutes basically if you really want to. I suppose you can read the sign when you like, but there's a little map showing it was going to be part of the tube line, but it never happened. Big problem was Alexandra Palace keeps burning down every few years, or every few decades anyway. It's another fire. Last time I think was 1980, or maybe even later than that, I don't know. Part of it anyway. And when this railway was built, immediately the palace burnt down and there were no passengers anymore. So that was that. Bit wobbly my hand holding, but I do have a camera stabilizer thing, but I can't get it to work with this camera, and it makes it kind of seasicky like. It's sort of weird motion anyway. So it's this is actually, I think, easier to see, more natural looking somehow. Some vines growing up, ivy. Oh, there's a rope hanging from a tree up here. In fact, this is what, as kids, we used to call a monkey slide. That is a rope hanging over a slope, and you could swing and slide down it quite well, actually. That's the same thing here. Attached to a big old tree. Great colours. Looks like we're coming to a little bridge here. Okay, see some of the birds. What have we got? Kestrel. Guess you could read about it at your leisure, but kestrel. Song thrush. Great spotted woodpecker, blue tit, and jay. And the WAG Club Doggy Daycare Centre is down there, so there you go. No wonder there's so many dogs around here. What have we got? Are we up behind all the houses here? The back end of Highgate or Muswell Hill. Both regions of London, or little villages in London. London is built of villages which have merged over the centuries. Oh, we've got a bit of a view here. Ooh. I guess that's the East End somewhere. I think that angled building might be Edmonton, but I'm not sure. Edmonton's in North London. We can see a bit further around here. That is Canary Wharf. The one with the pyramid on top is Canada Tower. That's business district, part of the London Docklands. And we can see a few more. We can see the City of London there, I think. This is the traditional business district. You can see the gherkin there, the one with the pointy top, a rounded top. Looks like a rocket. Super lighting today. Two guys having a drink and enjoying the view, I guess. See any further? Oh yes, there is the Shard near London Bridge, the tallest building in Western Europe, and I don't know if there's a taller one in Eastern Europe, I don't know, but anyway, there it is. Coming up to some sort of tunnel structure. Probably going to pass under a road or something. Oh, and there's something from the old railroad industrial past. Concrete block, I think they're used for holding electricity cables. Yes, there is a road up above. And there's a female holly tree with red berries. So, having been fertilised, it'll produce the berries, presumably. Surprising number of people around here have greyhounds. Maybe it's the fashion for Highgate and Muswell Hill or something. Graffiti. Of course, people have been drawing on walls for 40,000 years or more. And interestingly, it's been discovered that the same symbols are in many cases found all over the world. So in Europe, in North America, in Australasia, Asia, South Africa, I don't know about South America, probably. You can find the same symbols on cave drawings, like a cross, an X type symbol, circles, ovals, zigzag lines, hands, hand prints and hands silhouettes, and various other symbols. Here's the park, there we go. You can read about it. It was a farm originally, of course. And we're just going to wander in and have a look at the palace, and that's it. I don't think I'll walk down the lower part of the park, because the palace is on the top of a big steep hill, so it's a serious effort to go down the hill, especially after walking for some distance. But we'll see. Anyway. I was wondering why are the same symbols found worldwide. I mean, the archaeologists wonder if maybe it means there was a single culture, or that at least the culture didn't change much. I mean, nowadays we're used to things changing all the time, and within a single lifetime things change dramatically. And things, of course, were much slower back then, certainly as far as we know. More dodgy Stone Age symbols. And they've tracked down some symbols showing that they lasted for 20,000 years. The same ones were in use, which is inconceivably slow to our modern way of thinking. That pace of change is just mind-bogglingly slow. But I think society was extremely conservative in those days. Survival was very important, and you had to do what worked, basically. Another berry producing bush, orange ones this time. Don't know what type it is. And we're entering Alexandra Palace Park here. I don't know actually which way to go. I didn't look at the map closely enough. I'm just going to walk straight on. Yeah, it'll get me somewhere. If I remember, the palace was more or less straight on anyway. Yeah, so some archaeologists are speculating that there may have been like one culture, or perhaps just one language of symbols which everybody used. I don't know. Here's a symbol, have a look at this. There's no such thing as the dog poo fairy. Bag that poo, any rubbish bin will do. Indeed. It's a bit sad of them, isn't it? Sorry to disillusion you kids, but there is no dog poo fairy. It's apparently Haringey Council believes that to be the truth. Nice old-fashioned Victoria lampposts, or Victorian. So this tree's got its winter clothing on now already. I'm off. Super autumnal colours. Guy walking along, not looking at any of it. Bamboo stand. Whether it's an escapee from a garden or whether there used to be gardens here. I suppose there probably used to be gardens here in this park, and maybe it was planted deliberately once upon a time. But I was thinking, whether it is a language or not, the choice of symbols might just come down to human nature, because if you're going to draw a mark on a wall in a cave, some marks are easier to make than others, are more obvious. Like an X is a lot easier to make than, well, let's say a complicated shape like an X inside a box or something. And if you're going to draw shapes, you're likely to draw things like circles and ovals, zigzag lines and so on. So in a way, just because of our nature, we're bound to choose certain symbols, whether they mean the same thing in different places in the world or not. In the early days of symbol making, I think there's a very good chance we would pick many of the same symbols just because of our intrinsic nature. The symbols are not 100% arbitrary, in other words. Now, this cafe would normally be open. It opens at about 10:30 in the mornings, even on a Sunday. But they're on holiday, it says, from the 1st of November to Tuesday the 22nd of November. For our winter break. Okay. Oh well. No tea today. And you can see the broadcast tower on the top of the palace just there. So we're approaching it. It's a television broadcast tower. And I've got to go right or left. Don't know. Oh. Stuff happening. There's a map. There's the palace. Oops. As usual, camera can't really focus on stuff when I zoom. But anyway, that makes it none the wiser. I'm going to go left. The map is no help, frankly. People are going this way, so I'm going to go this way. It's an information stand if you want to buy some info. Or donate or something. I don't. We can see a bit more of the palace here. Just a bit. Just keep moving. I think we can go through here actually. A holly tree. I think behind all the shrubbery on the left there is actually a spa and fitness centre. It's members only. And there's the palace up ahead. Dazzlingly bright at the moment as far as the camera's concerned. W3 bus. I think it comes from Wood Green and places like that. Muswell Hill. So you can get the tube to Wood Green, and then there are buses that bring you up the hill to here. It's a fair old walk from Wood Green. And there's fencing up around, something's going on. I'm probably not going to be able to get in. Well, I'll just pretend like I'm supposed to and see if anyone stops me. The palm court is quite nice. If I can't get in, I'll stick some photos in the video here. Oh, there's the Shard again on the right, and the Gherkin to the left of the centre, partly occluded by the other building. This is not looking good. No. Oh well. Here are some photos. Meanwhile, we can look around the outside anyway. More Victorian lampposts. Seems there's some event going on, and therefore it's all closed up. Or the event isn't even starting until this evening, but they're keeping people out because I think they want to keep all these kids out, basically. They're going to sit out here for hours and hours. I suppose there's something to do with whatever it is. And there's an event next weekend as well, so... But anyway, we can look at the building and marvel. I've been in it before, but it would have been good to stick it on the video, but never mind, it's all a bit random. Just wondering if I can get in the side here or not, just in case. No, it's fenced off, okay. Right. Because it's on a hill, you can see quite a long way, of course. It's a view over North London, roughly speaking. The East End, I think, somewhere. Hackney, perhaps, I don't know. That'll be the East End of the Docklands somewhere, I think. This is North London. That might be Edmonton, I'm not totally sure. North London. There is a recycling power plant there, where they use earthworms to recycle garbage and burn other garbage and stuff like that. This building was originally built in the 19th century, 18 something or other. And it's burnt down several times since then and been restored. And it's in need of restoration again, I think, after the burning down of the 80s, unless it's done it again. I think it may have done, actually. Oh, there we go, the Shard on the right, the tall one. The Gherkin, bit to the left of the centre, partly hidden behind another building with a little antenna on top. There in the centre. I can see the NatWest, I can see the walkie-talkie tower there. Here we've got Canary Wharf and Canada Tower with the pyramid. So... Stratford, it's Stratford. I can see the orbit Eiffel Tower wreck. I might just label those for you on the video if I remember. So you can see it's a lot of the interior is gone basically. It would be nice if they could rebuild it. There is an ice rink inside, there's an exhibition centre inside, but parts of the building are not present. And that television tower, oh look, that's the Victorian lampposts, nice. That is because they broadcast TV signals from here, it's high on a hill. Even though it isn't evening, you've got a nice evening light here. All day today it's been like this. Autumn, I suppose the sun is quite low in the sky, even in the middle of the day. Now you can see the long shadows. It's roughly midday this is being filmed, and look at the length of the shadows there. We're a long way north in England. You can see a little bit of the lower part of the park. I just don't fancy walking all the way down the hill, and especially back up again. But as I say, you can see for miles and miles. Begging for donations to help improve the theatre, which is rubble at the moment. And this is a bit of the history of the palace. They want to set up a museum here. 1936, the world's first television broadcast. On 2nd of November 1936, the BBC transmitted the world's first regular high-definition public broadcast from Alexandra Palace. Lasting for only 2 hours, this historic telecast was opened by Leslie Mitchell, followed shortly after by Helen Whatsit, who sang a song. So there you go. You can read it properly if you like. The Queen's coronation was broadcast via here. Muffin the Mule. And the first cooking programme with Philip Harbin. I remember that name. He must have been somebody who was known when I was a child. There was somebody else, Harbin, who did origami, I remember. John Timpson. Well, that doesn't look like John Timpson in the photo, but I guess he was a lot younger back then. I'd never recognise him from that photo. There are things to see here even if you can't get inside, so we'll look. This is to remember over 17,000 German and other civilian prisoners of war interned at Alexandra Palace during the First World War, basically. High definition television service. I think that was, maybe that was 405 lines, I don't know. Not what we would call high definition TV these days. It's nice that around the building work they're sort of putting up a bit of stuff, at least so you're not completely in the dark about it. So you can read all the stuff about the history and what they're doing to restore the building bit by bit. (1859) built. Park opened. 1865 still building. 1873 palace burns down. Yes. 1875 another palace is built. (1882) gets into financial trouble. 1901 taken into public ownership. And then they use it to good effect to put people in prison, but in the internment of the First World War. Great Hall is restored in 1957. There we go, 1980, it burns down again. I remember seeing that. I lived in West Hampstead at the time, and I went up to Hampstead Heath and you could see it, the smoke, on this hill, which is another hill. You could look from one hill across to this one. A few miles, a couple of miles, but still. And they're still restoring it now, as you can see. Nobody wants to spend a lot of money on it, but basically. Yeah. But it could be, I think it'll be quite a nice place when they've finished it. They're finally getting around to doing it in earnest by the looks of it, because it's been sort of just like the Palm Court at the other end and an exhibition room, and that's it for many years. So it will be very good and a great place to visit when it's finished, I think. It's worth a look even now, really, if you can actually get in. That's the theatre as it stands at the moment. An old photo of how it was. Maybe one of your ancestors is in that photo, who knows? One of mine, I don't know. Unlikely, but you never know. We're only 6 degrees of freedom away from anybody else in the world, aren't we? That's a nice shot. I'm just going to go around behind the palace because there's stuff to see here too.
Connected to high pressure pump.
Alright, and here we come to the park. Some people having a little wedding there, I see. Here's the park cafe. I could do with a cup of tea or something, but I'm not going to look in there. I expect the prices will be London park prices. It's looking a bit busy anyway. What's this? The Lion. Looks very Babylonian, doesn't it? It isn't, I'm sure. A lion for London. Documents recently unearthed from the Alexandra Palace archives have revealed the origins of Leo the Lion. Sir Charles Wheeler was commissioned in 1973 by the GLC, Great London Council, to design a lion sculpture for the entrance to a proposed children's zoo. Although the zoo was never completed, the lion remains where it was placed, which is right here. So there you go. Now this is the duck pond. Canada geese. Might as well wander around, have a look. Especially on a nice day like this. It's cold, but not in my Swedish coat. Temperature's about 7 Celsius today, which is, I estimate, something like 45 Fahrenheit. But I can't do my coat up or I'll melt. Some sort of Tweety bird. I imagine it's a type of moorhen. Yep, go for the rubbish, yeah. One of these mallards, if that's what it is a very different colour. I'm not sure if it's the same. They're quite big as well compared with the others. I think they might be another species of duck altogether. Flock of pigeons. I'm managing to walk along the edge here without actually falling in, which is quite good. Now that is definitely a moorhen. Maybe it's like male and female or something like that. Oh, somebody's out boating. Oh, a squirrel. Oof, gone. Whoosh, almost. Yeah. Oof. Let's see if we can get in back to the water again. Yeah, there's a gate here. Don't feed bread to the ducks, it makes them fat. And ill, okay. Feed them seeds and sliced grapes and things of that sort. Grains, okay. Seeds. This guy fishing. Yeah. Seems like a funny place to be fishing with so many ducks and stuff around, to be honest. This guy's determined to get into every shot, I can see. Oh, are they thinking I'm going to feed them? I'm not. No, they're just out for a bit of a paddle. Okay. Maybe people here do respect the signs and don't feed them. Somebody had to be noisy. Oh, here we go. Aggressive little so-and-sos, aren't they? That's as far as we can go here, so I'm heading back. And just in case you're curious, here's that wedding couple, there you go. Still here. Well, good for them, I suppose. Now we are back in Highate Woods, because I said I'd come and have a look at the cafe. Camera seems a bit funny with the focus as usual. I don't know what it's doing, but hopefully it'll straighten itself out in a bit. Oh, it's getting there, I think, gradually. Yeah. One day I'll be able to afford a decent camera. Well, actually I'm getting a decent camera for my Norway trip, although it can only do 20-minute videos, so I'll have to do that. I suppose I can record them in chunks, can't I? But I'm not sure that it's suitable for this sort of thing. Well, I'll just have to see. I'll practice using it. But we're going to go and look at the cafe. Oh yes, on the benches you always see these little signs in England, because families sort of sponsor benches for anybody who's, if they've got a relative or something who like to walk in this place or whichever in the woods or in the park or wherever it is, then when they die they'll get a bench named after them. That's a nice little view. Or they'll get a little dedication put on a bench, and the bench is there for the public in memory of whoever. Camera's not focusing very well, is it? It'll get there, I know, but it is a bit hopeless sometimes. Here we go. Crystal Palace Park 43 miles, Richmond Bridge 25, Hendon Park, okay. Finsbury Park 3 miles. Woolwich Foot Tunnel 18 miles, that's the Docklands area basically, a bit further. So you see we were seeing a long way from the top of the hill there. Anyway, the cafe should be just down here a bit. There's rather too many people about for my liking. As one of life's introverts, I would really prefer the place to be deserted apart from myself. The dogs would be alright, I guess. But not their owners. Pesky people in the way, making noise. I don't know. I suppose I should try and think of them as wild animals as well, really. I mean, with the level of civilization of people these days, maybe that's not quite so far off. The trouble is, people should be civilized because we need to protect the planet with so many people on it. Anyway, here's the cafe. I think it's going to be busy. Too many people around. No dedication on that bench because it presumably belongs to the cafe. A dog-friendly area. And a little park. You'd think it was the evening here, but it's almost, well, it's early afternoon. Because I'm thinking about lunch, that's why I'm heading to the cafe, you see. But here it is, however. As usual, the prices were London Park prices. So a meal was about £12 per person. I was going to get something, but when I saw the prices I thought, the heck with that. And I went back to Highate, and opposite the station there are some cafes there and you can get English breakfast for £6.95. Here's some more fungi in the woods. Just a couple of shots to finish off and then we'll say goodbye basically. That's I hope you found the video interesting. And I'll see you in another one then, maybe. Bye for now.